Hello and welcome to Abhigyans Point. And what we're going to talk about today is some very fine diplomacy, but that directly affects us. And that's the reason I'm talking about it. It is related to Pakistan and Pakistan's permanent dilemma as a country to maintain now a balance between the US, its old traditional ally, and of course, China, the newfound trend to the extent that Chinese artillery was found against us in the Operation Sindoor. So please understand how significant and important this topic is, how Pakistan tries to maintain a balance between the US and China. And let me tell you, as I was reading a lot of research, and I can tell you that Pakistan follows a dual track policy, in my opinion. I don't think Pakistan trusts either the US fully or trusts China fully. That's my opinion after my understanding. And China, of course, is called the all-weather strategic anchor, steady, deep, long-term friend. So that is what is China called today. Now this is China we're talking about, accused of infiltration into our areas, into our borders. So please understand how significant this issue is. My second point is that if you see the US-Pakistan relationship, it's been a roller coaster ride, but very, very historically unstable. There are several instances that prove that whenever the Americans see their own interest, they also ignore Pakistan. And the biggest example of it I can give you is when the Osama bin Laden operation was launched in Abbottabad, the one country that was not consulted, not taken into confidence, not informed was Pakistan itself. So for Pakistan, it was egg on the face because Americans went into Pakistan to get Osama bin Laden, but never trusted Pakistan to tell them about the operations of finding Osama bin Laden. So understand how uneasy this relationship is. And now where does India come in? India also comes into very significant part here because India is developing new relationships. There have been tariff arguments with the US. India is also looking at different avenues, purely trade and commerce with China. So all this directly has a bearing on India, and therefore I'm bringing in this topic. What I see and I foresee in the future is a very, very difficult situation for Pakistan constantly to deal with this. But so is the reality of diplomacy in our region right now. It has to deal with the US and it also has to deal with China, both at the same time, because its interest in certain ways is against India. China, of course, accused of infiltration, as I said, and US constantly reinventing ties with India, on various economic fronts for that matter. So all this, which will sound very complicated to you right now, is not that complicated, but yes, there are a lot of fine lines and boundaries being drawn. And Pakistan, with a very unstable government, doesn't look very good in the long term to handle this. Though very good patches of Pakistan's time came with the US, particularly when their Prime Minister recommended Shahbaz Sharif, recommended Trump for Nobel Peace Prize because they claimed that Trump intervened in the ceasefire after Operation Sindoor. So these are, points that mattered. But in the end, my conclusion is, my analysis is that by my understanding of having traveled to Pakistan and seen this diplomacy for a very long period of time, it will not be the easiest case for Pakistan to handle US and China together. But it will also be the case where India decides what route of diplomacy it takes, keeping Pakistan in mind. That's my point.